Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Cars with Big Boy Trev. I am Big Boy Trev and today I have something amazing from France, some je ne sais quoi, and this is in the form of the Renault Koleos. But first things first, let's check out the highlights of this show. This week on Cars with Big Boy Trev, Porsche unveils its stunning 911 Targa for 2021. Worried about the dirt underneath your vehicle? We give you tips on how to clean your vehicle's underbody. And finally, we review Renault's premium soft-roader, the Koleos.
Renault Koleos Generation 1, 2008 to 2013. Renault Koleos is a new car model launched by the French manufacturer Renault in 2008, being entirely based on a car concept unveiled at the 2006 edition of the Paris Auto Show. In fact, the first concept came out in 2000 at the Geneva Car Show, but the production model only arrived in 2008. More importantly, the car was entirely designed by Renault, developed by Nissan but manufactured by Renault, Samsung Motors in Busan, South Korea. The vehicle came with a choice of two engines, a 2-litre DCI and a 2.5-litre, developing 150 and 170 horsepower respectively. The Koleos only had a 6-speed manual transmission with no automatic option as yet. Generation 1, the refresh from 2013 to 2016. The Renault Koleos returned in 2011 with a revised styling, more fuel-efficient engines, and offered a truly first-class equipment package for its price. The front end received a new grille, headlights, and a bumper with similar things happening at the rear end. New paint options and rims were part of the change, while the interior got a new R-Link multimedia system, blind spot warning, and a reverse camera. New materials such as satin finish trim were added for a more upscale feeling. Second generation Koleos 2017. The French manufacturer revealed its new generation of the D-segment SUV Koleos in 2016 in China. In keeping with the Renault design strategy introduced by Laurens van den Eyck, the new Koleos is covered by a so-called design pillar, Explore, which stands for robustness and a taste for adventure. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the all-new Renault Koleos. Do you think it's got what it takes to challenge the likes of the Toyota RAV4, the Mazda CX-5 or the Honda CR-V? Let's find out.
So after that brilliant introduction of the Koleos, it's time to test the real deal. Ladies and gentlemen, today on Cars with Big Boy Trev, we sampled the brand new Renault Koleos second generation. The French ain't playing, and of course, as you know, the French have flair, they have style, they have design, and of course they love their products. And starting with this particular design, it's done by a guy called Laurens van den Eyck. I think he's Dutch. Now the Dutch have very good architecture norms that have infused this French design, making it one of the best looking crossovers in the market. Let's take a look at the V-motive design. As you can see, so the lights are infused with the grille together, giving that V-motive design, and of course the highlight being this big badge, the diamond badge of Renault. Remember, Renault stands for heritage, history, and of course durable vehicles. Speaking of that, the grille, as you can see, slated grille with some trim which looks like chrome, and obviously some black X-ups that match the headlights, give this car style, you know, je ne sais quoi. That's what you need actually. And then also you look at the headlights as well, LED standard on this particular model, and of course you do have the standard LED daytime running lights that go across the bumper. You'll see it on the Megane, you'll see it on the Clio, you'll see it on different models of Renault. Of course, Renault trying to make sure that they remain the top of the patch as one of the best European designed vehicles ever done. Moving over to the side profile, as you can see, you do have a clamshell bonnet, and of course the dimensions, you know, it's not too overly done. You have a curvaceous body design denoting performance and power. Then you do have a lip here, as you can see on the door, just to give this car that off-road appeal. And obviously at the back, where the matters become very dicey, you do have LED design lights that roll across the whole tailgate, giving this car some stats. When you're just driving behind it and you look at this car, you say, wow, that is a French vehicle, and that's a Renault Koleos. As seen, you can see the emblazoned name Koleos, and of course the Renault diamond badge. That's it, folks. Design-wise, we know it's an amazing vehicle, but we want to find out how the cabin is. Is it as stylish? Do you reckon this particular car is better than a CX-5? Let us know. See the social media notes below, and I'll get back to you next week. Now, let's step inside and see what the cabin is all about. So step inside the luxurious cabin of this particular car. I can tell you the French are not only known for their cuisine, but also their taste in style and class. Let's look at the center console. As you can see, there's a large tablet style that looks sort of like a Tesla, and I can tell you it just gives this car a different visual appeal. Even the Volvo XC90 has this particular type of tablet. It houses the climate control, the radio functionality, Bluetooth streaming, and of course Mirigi, who's a resident expert when it comes to digital matters, will give us a lowdown on how this system actually works. Now, moving over to the instrument binnacle, it's fully digital and corresponds with the mood lighting. This car has mood lighting strewn across the cabin, from the exits over here, and obviously on the speedometer dial. So if you're feeling eco, it goes green. If you're feeling blue as well, you feel red and you feel sporty, you can actually toggle the settings using these settings on the steering wheel or the center console to change and match your mood and feeling. Do you think the cabin of this Koleos is similar or better to the Mazda CX-5? Let us know on the social media handles below. Now, moving over to the gearbox panel, as you can see here, it's finished with the piano black finish, giving it more premium look and feel. And obviously there's a stainless steel, except around the gearbox, which is a traditional gate shift gearbox with an electronic park brake. No longer are these cars coming with the traditional handbrake where you used to do handbrake turns like the previous Koleos. Now this is traditional handbrake. It's now electronic, and of course you do have cruise control settings right below it. And obviously you have plenty of cubbyholes and spaces. Then obviously on the center console you do have a deep pocket where you can actually store your valuables, and then it's cooled as well. The seats, my guy, let me tell you, the seats are amazing. Well sculpted, very comfortable, perforated, heated and cooled. It's time for me to hand over the reins to Mr. Mirigi, who's a digital expert. He's going to give us much more detail about this R-Link design system, and of course the seating capacity, the flexibility at the back, and of course the boot. Stay tuned, cars with Big Boy Trev.
You're presented with an incredible setup inside here. The French did not come to play when it comes to this. You have a digital display in the middle here and buttons on the side to control the digital display itself. In the middle here, we have an 8.7-inch tablet display with the R-Link system. Now, this system is actually a very beautiful looking system, but it's also very practical. You have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. One of the key things you look at in a system like this is the maps, and this actually has native maps in the system itself. So in addition to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you actually have maps within the system itself. Allows you to now set up your navigation. But let's check into the back and see what it has to offer in terms of convenience and comfort. Coming around to the back of the Renault Koleos, and the first thing I have to say is that it is really, really spacious. This is based on the Nissan X-Trail, which is actually a 7-seater, but for the Renault Koleos, they've decided to make it a 5-seater and given the back seat all of that space. This seat is set to my driving position. I am 5'9", and just look at how much space I have in front here. It's a fantastic place for my knees, my feet. There's too much space over here. It's actually really spectacular. You can probably do social distancing in this car. It's that big. Now, the seats themselves are fantastic. They're these great leather seats. The transmission tunnel is actually not that big, so you can sit 3 adults across really well. In terms of power, you actually have 2 USBs and a 12-volt socket, meaning that every passenger on the back seat can charge their device independently of each other. So your kids are not going to be fighting each other to charge their devices. The air conditioning also has vents at the back to make sure that you're kept cool. Not as cool as the guys in the front with the heated and cooled seats, but cool enough to make sure that you're okay on a long trip. In terms of space, there's a lot of space to put stuff. You have these nets at the back here. The door beams are actually pretty big, and there's a very nice and very comfortable armrest over here that has enough space for 1 or 2 drinks to keep them secure when you're on the move. Let's check out the boot to see how much space the Renault Koleos has to offer. Coming round to the boot of the Koleos, and we have a powered tailgate that opens to reveal a large, very usable space with a low lid seal. About 438 liters of capacity, making it just at the same level as most other of the cars in this segment. Under here we have a full-size spare tire, which you don't see a lot nowadays, and the subwoofer for the Bose 12 speaker surround sound system. We also have loads of small storage areas to put smaller things, tie-down points, and a 12-volt socket to power any electricals that you need. This week on Cars with Big Boy Trev maintenance segment, we discuss underbody car wash. Most of us tend to clean the exterior, interior, and the engine of a car. However, the undercarriage of a vehicle also needs regular cleaning and maintenance. A car's undercarriage is the backbone of the vehicle from a structural perspective. Depending on the vehicle, the undercarriage may form part of the chassis. This is the frame upon which the vehicle is built. Critical systems such as the fuel tank, the brake lines, the suspension, and the exhaust are mounted on the undercarriage. As you drive and go about your business, dirt and grime build up under the car over time. An undercarriage has drainage holes that can get clogged or restricted due to the material picked up from the road. Washing the undercarriage will reach those hidden nooks and crannies and ensure those parts are clean. This week on Cars with Big Boy Trev, we talk about some of the grey market imports that you might want to consider in 5 different classes. Starting with compact hatchbacks, the Volkswagen Polo comes in at a cost of around 1 million shillings. This compact hatch from Germany is loved by many due to its premium looks, generous equipment offering, and punchy TSI engines. Buyers have a choice of either diesel or petrol-powered versions, as well as a feisty GTI version for those who desire performance. Moving on to mid-size saloons, the Subaru Legacy comes in at a cost of between 1.3 and 1.7 million shillings. Subaru's iconic Legacy saloon continues to impress with new generation FB engines, larger cabins, and enhanced ergonomics, making it one of the most sought-after saloons in Kenya. One key advantage is its symmetrical all-wheel drive system, which ensures fantastic grip and road holding in all conditions. Switching over to business saloons, the Mercedes-Benz E-Class costs between 2.8 and 3.6 million shillings. The E-Class is the Mercedes definition of flying business class on wheels. Premium materials line the cabin, powerful engines, and plenty of technology make this the most adored executive saloon in Kenya. When it comes to compact crossovers, the Nissan Juke comes in at a cost of between 1.3 and 1.8 million shillings. This soft-roader carved a niche of its own, becoming the best-selling crossover in Europe. Its frog-faced grille gives it a unique and quirky look, loved by the young generation. Based on a platform that is shared between Renault and Nissan, it is powered by a choice of 1.6-litre petrol or a punchy 1.5-litre turbo diesel unit paired to a 6-speed CVT or a manual gearbox. Switching over to soft roaders, the Honda CR-V has a cost of between 2 and 2.6 million shillings. Honda's best-selling SUV has a huge cult following due to its bulletproof reliability and reputation for quality. The new CR-V sports a new intelligent all-wheel drive system that engages the rear wheels only when it detects the loss of grip. The introduction of the 2.4-litre iVTEC engine will definitely appeal to those who seek a spirited drive.
So guys, it's a beautiful day and I'm driving the Renault Koleos. Now, as you know, the Renault Koleos is based on the CMF-D platform. It is part of the Renault-Nissan Alliance, and I can tell you for a fact that actually this car actually feels exactly like a Nissan X-Trail, but of course with a little bit of French je ne sais quoi. Now let's talk about performance, because everybody is actually keen on that. Now up front you do have a 2.5 liter petrol engine that produces 126 kilowatts and 226 Newton meters of torque, and power is sent to the 4 wheels courtesy of an 8-speed CBBT transmission, which you know that I don't like, but because it's got sport mode and everything else, we're gonna try. So there we go, dropping 7 gears, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and it pulls and pulls. Next gear, again and again. So it accelerates from 0 to 100 in about 8.9 seconds, and of course top speed of about 210 kilometers an hour. That is standard regulation for such a car. Again, I normally say performance goes hand in hand with how the power is distributed, and obviously the 8-speed CVT transmission does its part to ensure that this particular car returns a good fuel consumption figure of roughly about 10 kilometers to the liter, which is not too bad for a 2.5 liter. Now, in terms of handling, the steering, of course, it's an electrically powered steering wheel, and of course, the feeling is it's you know, it's direct, but you know it's artificial. However, the suspension geometry is fantastic. McPherson struts, which have long stroke for you to have good planting power up front and at the back. You have a multi-link rear suspension that allows you to enjoy this particular car in certain curves. It has the Xtronic CVT transmission that is also found on the Nissan X-Trail, so it allows you to redistribute torque at any given time, and as well as give you that performance that you so desire off-road. Hill descent control as standard, and of course you do have hill ascent control. Now safety-wise, 5-star safety rating. You have a mixture of active and passive safety features. Active features include blind spot assist, ABS, electronic stability control, and of course you do have quite a number of items. And if all hell breaks loose and the Grim Reaper wants you to go to heaven or hell, then you can rely on the multiple airbags that are strewn across the cabin, and of course the safety cell that allows and dissipates impact energy away from the cabin, keeping you safe from harm's way. So we've just seen how the Koleos behaves on road. It's got good manners, and now we're just trying to sample if it can handle the bundu bashing. As I told you before, it's not a proper 4x4, but it can go, you know, maram, you know, get off the beaten track and at least show its prowess using its 4-wheel drive system. Now the 4-wheel drive system actually is called Xtronic. It's borrowed from the Nissan family. Now it is 33% stiffer than the previous generation, and obviously gives you ability to go off-road, which is very, very important. Now what Renault have done actually is to put McPherson struts and rear multi-link suspension just to keep this car steady off-road, and of course with the rough road package that is now suitable for Africa, you're able to enjoy a long stroke suspension movement, making sure the passengers are very comfortable, obviously when they are on such a surface, a maram surface. Now let's talk about the Xtronic 4-wheel drive system that is in this particular car. Xtronic basically controls the amount of traction that is being sent through the front wheels and the rear wheels through a computer guided system that has sensors across, including wheel sensors, steering angle, and so much more. So if it detects slip, then the system will automatically shift the power from the front to the rear axle, because predominantly this particular car is front wheel drive. It has 80% power when you're in 2-wheel drive mode, and when you switch on to 4-wheel drive, or it senses that, then you're able to transfer up to 50-50, up to 60-40 on acceleration, and depending on the type of weather. Now guys, it's time to go and do the value for money proposition. Do you reckon this particular car is better than the rivals? Who are the rivals? Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, the Hyundai Santa Fe, and many others in this category. Would you pick this particular car? Join me, Riga, and I as we do the value for money proposition on Cars with Big Boy Trev. So guys, you've seen what the Renault Koleos is all about. It's got style, performance, practicality, and of course the je ne sais quoi, the Frenchiness that we all desire in terms of design. But Mr. Mirigi, what are the key rivals of the Koleos?
Looking at this segment, of course, now mid-size SUV, you're looking at the Mazda CX-5, the Honda CR-V, the Hyundai Santa Fe, and its cousin, the Nissan X-Trail.
How much is it?
Prices for the Koleos are starting at 5 million shillings, which I think is very aggressive. It's also coming with a 3-year, 100,000 kilometer warranty.
Now, where can we get it, this car, if I wanted one?
Well, it's available at Caetano. They're the dealers for Renault right now. They are located along Mombasa Road at the Creta Complex, just past Next Gen on Mombasa Road.
Well, guys, you've seen what the Koleos is all about. Are you convinced that it is the right SUV for you? Let us know as seen on the social media notes below if this car is better than the CX-5, the Honda, and of course the Hyundai Santa Fe. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev. As always, it's an honor. If you have any questions, comments, or queries, don't hesitate to holler at us. As seen on the social media notes below. We'll get back to you next week. Signing off, this is Big Boy Trev.
This is Mirigi. Drive safe
and be safe.